Welcome to the Positive Pants Podcast. Mindset, motivation and inspiration to help you find your positive pants. Let go of negative thinking and stop living for the weekend. With your host, Fran Excel.
Hello and welcome to the show. I'm Fran Excel, Mindset and Personal Development Coach, helping you find your very own pair of positive pants so you can get out of your own way, live a life you really love and go after the things that you really want. Today, I'm going to be talking to you about some ways that you can love yourself more. So we all need a little bit of this. As always, really practical, actionable tips that you can implement straight away. So I hope you have your journals ready. So to kick this off, I want to give you a little quote. So it's by a guy called Steve Maraboli, and he says the most powerful relationship you will ever have is the relationship with yourself. And as somebody who has held themselves back more times than I care to confess, this is something that I know to be true. This is something that from my experience is something, if you don't work on this, it's so much more difficult to achieve anything that you want to. So self-love is really important. A lack of confidence and self-doubt leading to, all those pesky negative thoughts about yourself. Something I need to work on with my clients all the time and something I worked for years on with myself. So what I'm going to give you today is tried and tested, I promise. So to achieve anything really big in life, and I know a lot of you guys, it's that big career change. You're miserable Monday to Friday. Maybe it's starting that business or coping with the fact that you've got a side hustle and a full-time job, writing a book, all the big, scary stuff. You have to build up the positive foundations first, which is why I talk about this so much. If you're in a negative space or doubting yourself, you can see how much more difficult it would be to achieve the big stuff, right? It's like you hit this wall of resistance that you have to push through. And you'll hear me saying a lot, push through the pain to the unicorns and rainbows on the other side, because it's true. It's uncomfortable. These things are super, super uncomfortable. So you have to push through them. So I'm not going to lie to you and say this is super easy, but your relationship with yourself dictates pretty much everything in your external world. So your internal world reflects your external world. How you treat yourself is reflected by how you allow other people to treat you. It's a huge, huge, huge subject. So it affects your relationships, your job, your friendships, literally everything in your life. So this self-doubt that comes from not loving yourself, it's one of the biggest things that hold us back in life. It literally stops us from going after the things that we want and keeps us stuck feeling miserable with our lives. And you only get one life. It is far too short to wish it away. So it's something that the belief in yourself is something that you absolutely need in order to achieve the big things that you really want to. I struggled for absolutely decades with my relationship with myself, held me back from doing anything even sort of vaguely out of my comfort zone. So tell me if you can relate to this. Like all the thoughts would come up. You know the ones. So I'm not good enough. I'm not pretty enough. I'm not thin enough. I'm not clever enough. I can't do that because I'd never be able to insert whichever one is your regular offender here. Because these are the things that keep you stuck and they're your excuses as well. But what I want you to know is they're just gremlins. And I also want you to know that you can shut them the hell up. So that's what I'm here to teach you. So it takes time, like I said, and it's effort and it's a challenge. You're literally creating new neural pathways. So that can't happen overnight. If you're in your 30s, you could be retraining 30 years of conditioning to believe something to be true about yourself. But it can happen and it is so worth it, because once you've worked on that relationship with yourself, honestly, your entire world opens up. It means that you have that confidence to go after the things that you really want to. All those, if only I could do that. Well, you can. That's the amazing thing. You might go for a huge promotion that you've always told yourself you'd never be able to get, change your career, start, all of these different things that you can do. So what you need to do is, it's possible for you. That's the start. You're going to grow in confidence. You'll start to back yourself. You're so much happier because you really do actually believe that it's all possible for you. Stop comparing yourself to others. Remember that in other people, what you can see going on externally is not always what's going on internally. Remember that it's not always the whole picture. Try and reserve judgment on what is going on with other people. It's so easy to look at other people and go, they've got everything I want, and haven't they got the perfect relationship? And, you know, the reality that you see on Facebook and the reality that you see on Instagram is not reality. It's not the whole story. Yes, they may have a lovely relationship, but they may argue like cats and dogs. You don't know. So the easiest thing to do is when you feel yourself starting to compare yourself to other people, literally think to yourself, actually, what could the whole truth be? You know, there's all sorts of things that are going on for other people. Look at Cheryl and Liam, you know? I mean, so the next one, stop thinking that looking after yourself is selfish. And I've worked on this with a couple of you. Remember the aeroplane analogy, and I've used this before. You need to fit your own oxygen mask before trying to fit anyone else's. You have to take care of yourself first so you can show up as the best possible person, the best version of you. When did you actually take some time for yourself or do things that you love? Because also when it comes to things like self-confidence and self-love, often we're not actually taking care of ourselves when this is going on. It's things like one of the things that I did. I used to be in, you know, your legs in the winter, you know, the winter skin. I started giving myself a good scrub in the shower. Takes an extra 2 minutes. And I used to mind block myself from doing that. And it's such a simple thing. It made me feel really good. Baby smooth. Amazing. Remember, it's not you. Okay? Realize that with all that inner critic self-talk that you're doing, you are not actually talking to yourself. You're not having a dialogue with yourself. It is not what you have to think of yourself. You're talking to your ego and your amygdala that wants to keep you stuck where you're at because it thinks it's safe. It thinks it's trying to be nice, but actually it's being a bit of a douche because it's stopping you from doing all these amazing things that you are more than capable of doing. So this self-belief, once you realize why it's happening and where it's coming from, it's so much easier to deal with because it's that level of awareness that you need to start flipping things around. And I talk about awareness a lot. You'll hear a lot of coaches talking about awareness a lot because it genuinely is the space that change happens from. So please do remember you're not having a conversation with yourself. Now, the next one, some of you may not like, and I definitely didn't for the first 30-something years of my life, but exercise. I know, eye roll, you hate it, you hadn't got time, but as a convert in my mid-30s, I finally got it. I finally got what it was all about. When you actually take that time to look after your body, it really does change how you feel about yourself. Endorphins are real, people. They're real. So if you can, get a personal trainer so they can really, really push you. Find a class that you actually really enjoy. Try new things. Go for a bike ride. Just go for a walk. Just get out and do something that starts to stimulate those endorphins. Because when you treat yourself better and you look after your body, you feel better. And that's what we want. And that builds your confidence and that builds your belief in yourself and it builds how much you love yourself. You're doing something kind for yourself. So please do it. The trick to it that I definitely found was I always used to try and lose weight by saying, right, okay, I've got 3 months until this time that I've got to be in a bikini. So I have to lose X amount of weight by this amount of time. But the trick is you actually have to form a habit and turn it into part of your lifestyle and non-negotiable for you, and you will learn to grow. You will grow to love it. And you do have time. Scheduling is your best friend. You build it in and you work around it. And I know so many of you hate exercise, and I've always been one of those people, but I have grown to really, really love it. I have a bad back at the moment, but I still love it because it's important. And it's now something that I know that I need to do because I feel good when I'm looking after myself. So the next one is a social shakedown. So unfollow the people that make you feel bad about yourself and make sure you're following the people that lift you up. It's so obvious. I've talked about it before, but genuinely when it comes to self-belief, self-love, not comparing yourself, all of these things are linked together. This is so obvious, but it's such a game changer. When you don't see all the things that bother you, they stop bothering you. Magic. The next one you will expect from me, journal. Journaling is an amazing tool for increasing your self-love and your confidence. So in your journal, write a list of at least 20 things that you like about yourself. Then over the next week, I want you to get to 100 and consistently keep adding to it as they come to mind. Be grateful about those things. We can spend so much time looking at all the things that we don't like about ourselves that we forget that there actually are some that we do like. I've got nice feet. I started there, genuinely started with, as feet go, they're quite nice. And it went from there. But I've done these exercises. Everything I teach to you, I've done before, and I know that it works. So even when it doesn't necessarily have to be physical things that you like about yourself, it's things about your personality. Are you caring? Are you friendly? Are you generous? Whatever it may be, start with 20. Because if you've never done an exercise like this before, it can be a little bit tough, but it works. So trust me. Just keep adding those things. And then whenever you're having a little wobble or a moment, go back to this. When you're having one of those, I can't do this. Especially when it comes to self-confidence, and a lot of the time, the way we feel about how we look holds us back from being more visible. And if you want to start a business or you want to change a career or whatever, you have to get visible at some point. You have to stand out. So it's important. It's important that we work on these things. The next one is take time for you. Become aware when you're approaching that feeling of burnout, that feeling where you're cranky, you're getting negative and irritable. Increase your self-awareness and make sure you do something for you at those moments. Find out what those triggers are for you. And when you know that you've not been looking after yourself, and make sure as a matter of priority that you do something just for you. Even if it starts with a bubble bath, doesn't matter, whatever it may be. Take up new hobbies. So do something that you love. The more you do the things that make you feel like you're achieving, the better you're going to feel about yourself. Plus, it's a really good way if you're in a corporate job and you know you want to start a business, but you're not 100% sure what you want to start a business in, or change career, but you're not 100% sure what direction you want to go in. Start taking up new hobbies, because there's massive clues in there as well. So it's twofold with taking up new hobbies. Think about what you used to love when you were a child, because when the teenage years creep up on us, we lose those things that we used to love about ourselves, that we used to love about life, because they're uncool and we're more bothered about what other people think of us. So actually the cues later in life, when you want a new career or to start a business or anything like that, what are you passionate about? What did you love when you were younger? That's a really, really good place to start when you're trying to work out what it is you want to do. Funnily enough, again, living proof. I've actually gone full circle. I was really into personal development and very woo curious when I was younger, and I've gone full circle. But now I learn the brain stuff behind the woo, because I was always a natural skeptic. I never believed in Santa. I thought it was completely implausible. I like a little bit of science behind my woo. That sounds awful, but I'll go with it. The next one is push yourself out of your comfort zone. So how amazing does it feel when you achieve something that you didn't think you could? The more you do this, and the more of those moments that you have, the more you grow in confidence. So the more confident you are, the more you believe in yourself. Then the more you believe in yourself, the more you'll achieve. Can you see how this stuff works? Yeah? Next one is challenge your thoughts, because these thoughts will come up. You don't have to believe everything you say to yourself. Challenge yourself. Is it really true? Look for the evidence to prove that it's not true. So if you say, for example, I could never do that. Really? Never? Challenge those thoughts that you have. Challenge those stories behind what's stopping you taking the leaps. So go for those ones, because they're some of my favorites. The next one is be kind to other people. I love random acts of kindness. So it's a positive psychology intervention. And if you take the time to do good things for other people, you will feel good. It's pretty simple. How many people can you make smile today or tomorrow? How many nice things can you do for other people? Because it has a ripple effect. I don't know if you've seen the film Pay It Forward, where the idea is that for every one, so you've got a person here, and then for every one person at the top of the pyramid, that influences 3 people, that influences another 3 people. For those 3 people, you can see where this is going. So it's a really, really big subject. And learn to accept compliments. Please, please, please. Even when it's through gritted teeth, the more you do it, the easier it becomes, the more you believe it, and the more it becomes your reality. You're training your brain to believe these things. You're undoing conditioning that's been done throughout your life. Please accept compliments. And my final one is be you. There's only one of you on this whole entire planet. One. If you spend your time trying to be anybody other than unapologetically yourself, you won't be happy. And you're always going to struggle with your relationship with yourself. You have to learn to love yourself. And by doing that, it's being yourself. So do all these other exercises that I've talked about. And remember that this will take time. You cannot unprogram a lifetime of programming overnight. But trust the process and work at it. And you'll see big changes in the way that you feel about yourself. And everything else will grow from there. Everything else. So let me know if you have any questions. But that is how you can love yourself more. And it's all really, really practical and actionable. So thank you very much for joining me today. Next week, I'm going to be talking about how to find more time in your day. So you heard me mention scheduling earlier. There's a clue. There are ways to do it. You do have time. And don't forget to download your free journal template, and you can start getting those mindset shifts straight away and start finding those positive pants. So until next week, hopefully no more tech snafus, but let's be honest, there probably will be. But I will see you very soon.